everyone, welcome to this video. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little about sampling methods and some of the real life issues and problems that you can encounter when you actually try to start collecting data. When I teach a face-to-face class, I like to actually make my students go out and collect data in order to understand some of the pitfalls and just difficulties that you can encounter. Unfortunately, that's kind of hard to do in an online class. So instead, I'm going to use this discussion as a way to get you starting to think about that. So in week one, we talk about different kinds of sampling methods. We talk about simple random sampling, stratified, cluster, and systematic sampling. We also mentioned voluntary and convenient sampling as well as non-ideal ways of collecting data. So what I want you to start thinking about is if let's say I'm running a manufacturing plant and things are coming off the assembly line, it's really easy. Let's say I'm making like popsicles, right? I can take every 100th popsicle and, taste test it or have someone do that and check for quality control. If I'm a scientist working in a laboratory and I'm studying, let's say, some strain of bacteria, again, very simple and straightforward to collect an unbiased data set. Where we run into difficulty as data scientists is when we get to human beings, because we all have choices, we all have free will. And this is especially an issue in the discipline of psychology, which I love talking about. It's one of my favorite things. So if you think about psychology, a lot of the topics that we study are very personal, very delicate. They might be topics that a person would be tempted to lie about, right? So one is you're always going to have this voluntary bias, right? A human being has to choose to, first of all, participate in your study, and then they could choose to lie to you. Also, generally speaking, when we're collecting data, we have limited funds, right? You don't have infinite amount of time or infinite amount of money to perform your study to collect your data. So at some point, most researchers end up having some sort of convenient sampling. What happens a lot in graduate research among like PhD students in psychology, they usually pull from other grad students or undergrad students. The reason is that they're easily incentivized by money. I don't know about you, I didn't have a lot of money when I was in undergrad. So, somebody was going to buy me some pizza or give me a $5 gift certificate, I'd probably participate in their study. But again, the flip side of that, right, is the question that we're always asking ourselves is this a representative sample of the population we're studying? So let's say I'm going to study people, everybody in the world, right? Is all the people who go to MIT, let's say that's where I'm doing my research, or Harvard or Yale, are those students representative of the world population? And the answer clearly is absolutely not. In fact, they're an extremely biased sample. So it's really interesting, and it's important to start understanding these difficulties and the caveats that we have when we're starting to collect data from human beings. So I just wanted to get you started thinking about these things so that when you go to find your article, you know more what you're looking for, and you can understand, again, some of the difficulties that researchers face when they collect their data. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. Bye.